Well, as you look over in turn number 2, you see the Bill Roberts Chevrolet Pace truck making its way out. Hermitage Lumber late models follow in single file as they come out from the garage area, but once they hit the track, they'll get too wide. And you look at that front row, those have been your top 2 cars every single race this season. We've only had 2, but still. J.C. Morton has been victorious twice, and Robbie Ewing has been bridesmaid twice, finishing second to J.C. Morton. They will start on the front row, and Robbie Ewing in the 32 will have the honors. He starts P1, J.C. Morton on his outside. Justin Russell, joined by Tucker Cox in row number 2. Al Westling and Larry Jones in row number 3. And then we had some carnage during the hot laps and the heat races. Scott Bergen, Hunter Bergen, Richard Kimberling, and Brian Allison, none of which, or Bob Cummings and Brian Allison, none of which able to make the main. So Richard Kimberling will bring up the caboose as only 7 late models are here to live to fight another day for our A main. Track was worked in during intermission, so the cars will get a couple of laps here just to dip their toe in the water and see how different this track has changed. Going to get them a little bit of speed in turns 1 and 2 and then slowed back down. They'll check 3 and 4 out also. Last thing we want is a freshly tilled track and the drivers to go barreling off into turns 1 and 2 and not know what they're going to have. Kind of like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Well, you might get a wadded up car if you carry too much speed into 1 and 2, not knowing what the track looks like. So the Bill Roberts Chevrolet Pace truck is going to head to the pit area. Going to let the cars get some real heat in the tires and see what this track can do before we let them loose for the A main. Robbie Ewing again this year. New story on him. We've been accustomed to seeing him running a B mod, but for Robbie, he now has this late model that he's playing around with. It's a Capital chassis, Bailey engine. Harriman Farms, Ewing Concrete, Dirt Track Specialist, EKG Motorsports, couple sponsors for Robbie. 2-time champion at Dallas County back in 2016 and 2019 in a B mod. Ran at Bolivar, and with him being in Stockton, he hadn't been running here all that often in his B mod, but since he now has 2 cars that he can drive, he has decided to make Saturday night his typical racing night instead of Friday. And with his run through the heat race, he now has earned the right to start on the pole with J.C. Morton on his outside. And after a couple laps, now ready to get them all stacked back up. First time that Larry Jones has been able to come out to the racetrack this season. 6-time champion. Won championships at Lebanon, a couple at Bolivar. One up at Butler, has 2 national championships. Behind the wheel of the 99, brand new sponsor for him and Czech Tech Automotive. Don't necessarily want to say they're an underfunded team, but not a lot of sponsorship there on the side of that number 99. I'm sure Larry Jones would love to put your name and a logo on that if it's for the right price, of course. So the yellow lights have been turned out. Green flag on the hand of Chris Loberg up on the flag stand here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Again, only 7 late models, but what we've seen from these cars don't have to have a big car count to put on a big show. And those 2 on the front row have put on a show the first 2 races of the season. And with the drop of the green flag, J.C. Morton to the outside grabs a 2-car length advantage over Robbie Ewing. Ewing's not going to give it up. Up the track he goes. Has to catch it before it goes into the retaining fence, and that's going to let J.C. Morton jet out to a sizable lead. If we stay green, can Robbie Ewing make that big difference up? It's going to be tough for the pilot of the 32. Because one thing J.C. Morton is pretty darn good at is not making mistakes. If he can run some flawless laps here, he should be in pretty good shape. The 12 of Justin Russell, he sits back in third, just out of Henley, Missouri. Victory Chassis, Creason Engine, Tacom, TMI, and Coastal Electric sponsors for him. And the Midwest Sheet Metal Caution comes out for a spin over in turn 2, and that's Big Al Westling. Allen out of Fulton, Missouri. Al led the POWRi National point standings for a long period of time last year. That was in the early portion with one victory. But as the season went along, ran well here at Lucas Oil Speedway, but never picked up a win. And everyone else in the POWRi ranks started to pick up some wins, and Justin Wells dominated here at Lucas Oil Speedway last year. So with the spin of Al Westling, he goes to the back. J.C. Morton up on the front row, all to his lonesome. Robbie Ewing chooses to go to the inside, shuffling Justin Russell to the outside. And the yellow light has been turned off, and we'll get the drop of the green next time by. Got 3 laps in. And a big break for Robbie Ewing and Justin Russell for that matter, as J.C. Morton, through 3 laps, had built up a 1.3 second lead. He'll drop the hammer in turns 3 and 4 through the Lucas Oil restart zone, and what a great restart for Justin Russell. He's going to let it all hang out on the top side. A little bit of a bobble, and Robbie Ewing is going to capitalize on that. Up to second. And what a power move in 3 and 4. He goosed the throttle on the entry to 3. Cut into that deficit that J.C. Morton had built up. And Robbie Ewing's going to try it again. Lifts going into the turn, but he's able to get back down on the power pedal before J.C. Morton can. And that's where Robbie Ewing has cut into that lead again. It was down to 4 car lengths. Now it's down to 2. I think Robbie Ewing may be knocking on the door here before too long, as we've completed 6 laps. To the inside goes Robbie Ewing, a nose out in front, down the back chute. Moon Brothers Racing Ride running strong for J.C. Morton. He lets them pretty much make all the calls as far as the handling. JC can pretty much tell them, hey, this is what it's doing. What should we adjust on it to make it run faster? And he lets the boys go to work. JC by 5/100ths of a second, a nose out in front of Robbie Ewing. Told you a little while ago, you don't have to have a 24-car field to watch a great race. We started with 7, and this has been a dandy so far. Robbie Ewing and J.C. Morton staying side by side, and Justin Russell is still not out of this yet. All it takes is one little bobble from one of those 2 cars, and it opens the door for the 12, who's just sitting in the catbird seat right now in third watching this battle. For Justin, a track champ here at Lucas Oil Speedway back in 2015. And now Robbie Ewing, after grabbing the lead last time by, this time he's out in front by half a second over J.C. Morton. Tucker Cox to the inside of Russell. This is the battle for third. Tucker Cox, second in points last year, had 1 win here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Dominated at Callaway last year with 5 victories. The win here at Lucas Oil Speedway came in one of the post-regular season runs. And now Tucker Cox looking to the inside of J.C. Morton. So J.C., a 2-time winner in the Hermitage Lumber late models this year. And Robbie Ewing is checking out. Tucker Cox now gets around J.C. Morton drops back to 3rd. Laps winding down. They'll have 5 to go for Robbie Ewing this time by. Robbie with 3 track championships. 2 at Dallas County, 1 at Bolivar. Tucker Cox is starting to reel him in. Will Tucker Cox have enough time? He just might. Three to go underneath the stripe this time, and the lead has been cut in half, down to 0.3 of a second. Don't want to say Robbie Ewing may have underestimated anybody else in the field. If he did, it was a mistake on his part, because Tucker Cox now is there. To the inside, down the backstretch, Tucker Cox by a nose. They'll get the white flag this time by. Barely touch off of 4, and Tucker Cox is going to grab the lead with 1 lap to go. Around the lap car of Kimberling. And Tucker Cox didn't really think he would play into it, but once he got past Justin Russell to 3rd, he disposed of J.C. Morton, and he'll take the lead with 1 lap to go, and Tucker Cox grabs the victory away from Robbie Ewing in the closing laps and wins for the first time at Lucas Oil Speedway in 2025. The Capital Kid, Tucker Cox, wins it. Tucker Cox won the POWRi National Championship last year with 7 total victories. He won 5 times at Callaway and 1 here at Lucas Oil Speedway after the regular season was done. He finished 2nd in the points, and with this win tonight, Tucker Cox is going to take a huge chunk out of that lead that J.C. Morton had built up as Robbie Ewing comes home in 2nd. J.C. Morton 3rd, Justin Russell 4th, and Larry Jones rounds out your top 5. Richard Kimberling finished 2 laps down, and Alan Westling called it a night on lap 14, parking it on the infield. Tucker Cox has won here at Lucas Oil Speedway on 3 different occasions, back in 2020, 2022, and the 1 win last year. He now wins for the 4th time at Lucas Oil Speedway, and he does it